Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back, or if you're new here, hello. This is Silver Screen Freak, and this time I thought I would try something new that I was inspired by Carson Runquist. I wanted to do a what I watched so far this year TV show edition. So starting off, we have Yellowjackets, which was amazing. A story about a girls' soccer team whose plane crashes in the forest in the 90s. There's a lot of back and forth with them as women in the present day. I don't want to say anything that will give too much away, but what I do want to say is that this is the female storytelling I am all about. Written and directed by a largely female crew, its core protagonists defy and complicate TV's most classic cliches on women. None of that overly in-your-face girl power kind of writing.
She's got help. The women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to ex-women.
The writing is amazing. A lot of the times my expectations were very subverted. I'm not gonna lie, there's so many points where I thought something was gonna happen and I was just completely wrong. I mean, this show has so many surprises and twists. It's amazing. And the women and girls were just phenomenal. Christina Ricci, Melanie Lynskey, and Juliette Lewis in particular were fantastic. The show was a breath of fresh air and a wonderful way to start 2022. Moonknight was entertaining. Oscar Isaac, is such a gifted actor. He essentially had to play like 3 very different characters. Ethan Hawke was amazing. He was a very nuanced, subtle, kind of scary-ass villain. And in Marvel fashion, it's entertaining, a lot of action, good comedic moments. It just didn't stand out too much for me, but it was enjoyable and entertaining. Okay, you know what? This is a show that doesn't take itself seriously, and I appreciate that. Not every TV show needs to be deeply profound with commentary on the state of the world. Sometimes we need something to just escape from reality for a bit, and I totally appreciate that about this show. It's simple, sweet, and charming to watch. I had hopes for this one, but the show itself made me believe that there would be a lot more to expect from the story, that by the end I was just kind of like, oh, that's it? But I do have to say Julia Garner is someone that I'm looking forward to seeing more of. I think she did a fantastic job with the role, especially after I saw actual interview clips with the real Anna Sorokin. She nailed the accent and the little, gestures. She's from Ozark and she's from Maniac, so I have my eye on her. Other than that, I don't really have much to say about the show. I kind of nearly forgot I watched it, so yeah. The next show I watched was Season 2 of Only Murders in the Building. I really enjoyed the first season, and this season did not disappoint. I find Steve Martin and Martin Short hilarious. I love their dynamic with Selena. And yeah, I knew it would be difficult to follow up the first season, but it's such a fun show to watch. I love the feels it gives me. It's almost nostalgic, but very current and very modern. And it's such a mood lifter. It's a great way to escape from reality for a bit. I don't know what the popular consensus is. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I really liked Season 2 more than Season 1. And although I watched the season just because I was bored, I found myself really enjoying it. I think I might be a sucker for the enemies to lovers trope, so if you're not into that, this might have not been the season for you. I found both leads so compelling. It gave me a callback to Pride and Prejudice. I loved the chemistry between Anthony and Kate, and the other storylines have started to get real juicy, so now I'm basically hooked and ready to watch the next season. The Politician Season 2. I was actually maybe one of the few people to watch this show who really enjoyed the first season. I am a fan of Ryan Murphy's humor. I love the art direction in this show, the costumes and the set designs. The characters are wacky and outrageous. The plot lines are outrageous and wacky. It's well done and it's all very seamless. It's a fun show to watch, but I feel like it's missing something because as crazy and outrageous as it is, it's not as memorable as it should be, I feel. So that's a little bit of a downer. I think it's missing something, not exactly sure what, but I'm pretty sure if Season 3 were to come out, I would watch it, but it's just not the type of show that, I think about after it's over, or I'm waiting impatiently to watch for the next season. Euphoria Season 2 shows what happens when you focus too much on the aesthetics and forget to focus on the story. As beautiful as it was to watch, a lot of people couldn't get past the fact that the plot was very hollow this season, with a lot of inconsistencies. For example, where the hell was Kat for most of the season? But Zendaya's performance was yet again so phenomenal, and for her portrayal of Rue hitting her rock bottom, truly did deserve her Emmy Award. I won't cross off Euphoria off my list just yet because we are going to have a time jump and hopefully we can see a little bit of Stranger Things for the next season of Euphoria, i.e. a renaissance to get off the slump that was Season 2. Oof. I loved the season so much. This is their Renaissance era after a slightly disappointing season 2 and 3. I was not expecting to be that blown away. I'm sure most of you watched it, but thinking about it again gives me chills. So many iconic scenes, iconic characters, the story is pushed further, a lot of dots have been connected at this point, and I am so looking forward to the next season. As I mentioned in my Stranger Things video from months and months ago, I just love how it kind of parallels with the first season. And so for me, this season is tied with the first season. And this season might be even better than the first season. It's darker, it's more mature. I mean, I feel like this is just great storytelling. Severance gets all the points. It's just an amazing show. So it's set in a world where employees can get their memories surgically divided in order to keep their personal lives and work lives completely separate. I was blown away. The show is a diamond in the rough. I find it rarer and rarer to find very original shows with new concepts. I mean, if I were to describe it, maybe I'd say it's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind meets The Office, but that is nowhere near what it is. I can't get enough of the show. I think everyone should watch it. I feel like it's gonna speak to a lot of people. It really makes you think about a lot of things in terms of how we deal and cope with grief and sadness. All the performances are amazing, you know, and as many pull at your heartstrings moments there are so many hilarious moments. The tone, world building, and the way they unravel piece by piece more information is an amazing feat. This was such a joy to watch. I love this show and I really, really cannot wait for the next season. Midnight Club. Okay, I love Mike Flanagan. He is one of the most amazing directors, writers that I am always so excited to watch. This show is his most different venture, and sadly I think it's his weakest. The separate story arcs felt disjointed, ending was predictable, and I wasn't a fan of the kids' stories taking a huge chunk of each episode. But like all his shows, it deals with grief, acceptance, and loss so beautifully. I was touched at the end of the series. And thanks to this show, I found 2 new actors who I am excited to see more of in his productions because he likes to use the same actors and actresses in all of his projects. So the 2 I'm most excited to see more of is Sorian Sapkota and Ruth Codd. Season 3 of Umbrella Academy. I loved the way they incorporated Elliot Page's character's transition from Vanya to Victor. I thought it was well done. Now the thing about this show is you think it can't get any wilder, but it does in the best way. It's so entertaining. I've really grown fond of all the characters. And this is just a fun show. It truly feels like we are watching a comic book come to life and you never can expect what's going to happen next. Okay, Boobitch was just mind-numbing. It wasn't even entertaining for me to watch, and I can't help but feel sorry for Lana Condor to always be typecasted as the wallflower in high school who then suddenly gets popular. The dialogue was just so unrealistic. The writing and storyline wasn't quite there, and the plot of high school girls who realized that they wasted their time by getting good grades when they could have had fun and had a life was already done very well in Booksmart. So unless you have something better to offer, it's just been there, done that at this point. Even in a realm where ghosts are real, I just found the ending so unbelievable, convoluted, and it just didn't make any sense. Another high school show, but with so much heart and substance. I think you guys know by now, I'm a fan of Never Have I Ever. It is a breath of fresh air, and even well into its 3rd season, I am happily riding on the journey that is Davy's road to acceptance with her father's death and her coming-of-age story. This show has a special place in my heart. If you'd like, you can check out my full analysis where I further talk about Never Have I Ever. Next up, we have Russian Doll, a mind-bending, time-bending, genre-bending show that shuffles between being existentially alarming, funny, frustrating, surreal, and deeply moving. The ending of the season deeply frustrated me. I was yelling at my screen. But other than that, will I be watching season 3? Of course. If you like sex education and Never Have I Ever, I think this show would be right up your alley. There are a lot of themes regarding race, gender sexuality, and neurodivergent representation that I think was discussed and handled very beautifully throughout the whole show. My own personal opinion, but I wasn't a big fan of the ending of the season. Something about the ending was just, it didn't sit right with me. But again, that's my own personal opinion. Not much else to say. I didn't read the book, but from viewing the show, I think I could tell that there was a lot that was lost while adapting it for the screen. I did not feel chemistry between Francis and Nick, which is a big part of the entire show. The characters didn't have a lot of depth to them. So in a way, I felt like they didn't have personalities. I felt very disconnected with the lead Francis, which kind of made me feel conflicted because it is pointed out somewhere near the end of the show, Francis is selfish and exhausting. So I guess that means they achieved what they wanted, but also at the same time, shouldn't we be empathizing and cheering for her still, even a little? It just wasn't quite there. But the mood and tone of the show was, I have to say, quite good. I think one of the themes of the show is isolation, alienation, feeling different and an outsider. And from the cinematography, the mood, the lighting, the color palette, the art direction, I think visually it was all there. But it's just, for me, it was the characters and the lack of personality, the lack of motivation. A lot of times I feel like maybe a voiceover would have helped, but at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of relying on voiceovers to understand a character's motivation. So yeah, I think it was just one of those stories that is better left read than adapted for the screen. Okay, House of the Dragon. Slow start, not gonna lie, but there was enough to make me continue watching, and boy was I happy I stuck around. I found myself switching which character was my favorite throughout the show because so many of them were so well crafted. Watching the power dynamics is truly like watching a dance, and as the season leads up to what is known as Dance of the Dragon, it's very fitting. Watching the men in this show time and time again mess up due to their own ego, hunger for power, and the women suffering because of the men's frail masculinity, but still managed to be the strength the realm needs, and picking up most of the men's mess wasn't something I thought this show was going to be about, but I was all for it. Oh, and can we take a moment to appreciate the stunning cinematography? Each shot feels like it could be framed in a museum. I am absolutely loving the strong female leads in this show. Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, even Queen Alicent, she is a compelling character. I was switching from hating and sympathizing with her like throughout the whole season, which is quite an incredible feat because as much as I hated her, I felt bad for her. I think it was just a well-done show. It feels a lot more nuanced than Game of Thrones, but it's kind of nice that it's a little different. This season has left me wanting more, and I can tell this is just the tip of the iceberg, which makes it all the more exciting. Yeah, I don't know why I keep watching this show. It's hilarious and entertaining for all the wrong reasons. Don't judge me. Did anyone else notice that they totally ripped off Avengers Endgame? I mean, they are known to basically take inspiration, I say that with air quotes, from a lot of movies and TV shows, but Endgame, like, so random. As a show that I think it wants to be, I'd give it a 1 out of 10, but as a show to laugh at, a 7. It used to be 10, but it's kind of getting old now. But guess what? I'm 100% certain I'm going to be watching the next season, so the joke's on me. So there it is, guys, the list of shows I've watched so far. What shows did you watch this year that stood out for you? I'm currently in between watching The Crown, What We Do in the Shadows, and Cyberpunk. What about you guys? Let me know down in the comments. And please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more TV show, movie recommendations and reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye!